Let's go on an unrestrained back road adventure to the secret section of the Grand Canyon. That famous hole in the ground presents so much more than meets the eyes. When people think of the Grand Canyon perched high on the Kaibab Plateau in northern Arizona, I dare say they are not yearning to take a four-wheel drive adventure that might require two spares. As soon as I saw Toroweap on my treasured Indian County guide map, a fire inside me was struck. I yearned to get to Toroweap, enjoy the arduous, rocky, dusty, changing terrain and changing view, undeniably rewarding back road adventure with me. I loved almost every minute of our day-long excursion. You, on the other hand, will experience it from the comfort of your armchair. I do hope that my other back road enthusiasts will catch the spark and put Toroweap on their bucket list. Start your cyber engine and let's hit the long, rocky road to gawk at the narrowest part of the Grand Canyon. Yes, you heard me right. As you ride along, I'll tell you the whole story. We were parked at an RV park in sort of nearby Kanab, Utah. We had parked there years ago. You can see on the map, all of this is right on the border of these two magnificent states. On our first day in the area, we dipped back into Arizona to return to Pipe Spring National Monument. This is a historic Mormon pioneer fort. I started a conversation with the girl behind the counter in the visitor center, telling her that we were considering going to Toroweap in the next few days. I told her how I'd researched it years ago and the thought of needing two spares had caused me pause. She grew up in nearby Hurricane, Utah, and had trekked out to Toroweap several times and knew lots of people that went out there. She assured me that it wasn't any worse than any other back road, but the warning was probably due in part to the great distances in and out. With this added bit of positive information, I looked at Steve and he knew what tomorrow held. We would be taking the 61-mile, one-way, Sunshine Route. There are two other routes that I will mention along the ride out to Tuweep. I was so exhilarated. We have been to the South Rim 4 times, the North Rim twice, hiked the 8 miles down into Supai to stay there for a week to see the glorious falls, driven to the Colorado River along Diamond Creek Road on the Wallapai Indian Reservation. Yes, I said drive to the Colorado River. You can drive to the Colorado River. Who knew? And we have had a grand excursion to the Skywalk at Grand Canyon West. And now the cherry on top is Toroweap. Travelers should carry extra water, extra food, good tires including at least one usable spare. You might have heard me say Tuweep. I'll fill you in on that term in a bit. There are established trails, camping areas, and I want to give you some stats that you'll need to know about road conditions, weather conditions, and just lots of amazing details that invigorates an adventure to Toroweap and will thrill my armchair travelers, no doubt. As you saw, we took the Arizona Highway 389 west from Fredonia, the turnoff for Toroweap. Mile marker post will alert us to our progress. We're well-seasoned back road four-wheel drive folks. We love our old Chevy Tahoe because of its comfort, size, and reliability. We really should have been sponsored by Chevy. The places that we have taken this Tahoe is, let's just say kind of incredible. By the way, we've always had an aired-up good tread spare. Well, maybe not always. This sign reads Mount Trumbull 30 miles, Toroweap 37, and here's the cutoff for Hack Canyon. In all of our back road trips, we've only had one flat due to road conditions, and that was on the backside of Death Valley when we were headed toward the Barker Ranch. Dirt back roads are traditionally washboard, and you often will find that driving on the other side of the road is smoother. Washboard is a term describing the bumps that stretch across the road and are seemingly endless at times. You will often see where people drive on the sides as much as they can to at least get 2 tires off the washboard. If you don't know what a washboard is, ask your parents. This is no big deal, as you can see for miles, and dust in the distance alerts to the fact that someone else is out there in the middle of nowhere with you. That's kind of a comforting sign at times. This is probably a good time to mention the other 2 routes and seasonal weather information giving rise to possible travel complications. As I mentioned, we chose the Sunshine Route. The Bureau of Land Management Arizona Strip visitor maps are sold at the Arizona Strip Information Center in St. George, Utah, at nearby Pipe Springs National Monument, and at the Kaibab National Forest Office in Fredonia, Arizona. BLM Road number 109 is the Sunshine Route. This is the primary access route that leaves Highway 389 about 7 miles west of Fredonia. And look at this big piece of road equipment. I guess these are the guys that grade the road every once in a while. that it is subject to washboarding and dust. No kidding. But the 61 miles makes it appealing. Mount Trumbull, 26 miles, and Toroweap, 34 miles. I wonder if this blue thing is an Airbnb. What do you think? It's got an upstairs and a pool. The Main Street route is BLM Roads 1069 and number 5, and it goes out of St. George and it is about 90 miles long, and it is the most scenic route. It may be impassable in winter due to snows on the slopes of Mount Trumbull. Now, winter travel, you have to think about this, is basically from December through March. Even the main Sunshine route can become muddy and impassable when covered by melting snow. Travel may be possible when the road surfaces freeze at low temperatures, that's below 20 degrees. But roads become impassable again as the temperature rises. So during the winter, roads are often passable only between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. Well, that's not enough time unless you're going to stay out there. Now, monsoons are real. It can really cause issues on those tires because when these dirt roads, this red clay looking stuff gets stuck in your tires become just one nice smooth thing, and all the tread and all the rubber that you can get at discount tires won't help you. The summer monsoon season is during July and August, and this is when heavy monsoon rains can wash out these roads, making travel difficult. Road conditions can change rapidly after intense isolated thunderstorms, and visitors are advised to be prepared in the event they are stranded during a flash flood. Vehicles can be stuck for several days during these isolated storms. We got caught in one of these storms just southeast of Hurricane Utah one time. We had to dig out the mud from the tires, and we did get out, but we definitely learned a lesson. At mile marker 40, we found this sign. Mount Trumbull, 13 miles. Toroweap, 20 miles. Wow, we've only got 1/3 of the way to go. And then here is the turnoff for 40 miles to Colorado City, Arizona. This is one of the other routes to Toroweap. We are also entering Grand Canyon Perched National Monument. And like we needed this reminder that this is an unimproved road surface, 30 miles an hour, if we're lucky, every once in a while, all of a sudden the mile markers changed. And I thought, well, this is just going with the other route. And that didn't make any sense, and it caused some confusion. I was worried for a little bit that we weren't on the right track, but we were. And I forgot to ask the ranger down there what the mile markers were meaning. But now all the routes are on secondary county roads that are graded occasionally and generally in fair condition. They really are. Dust wallows several feet deep may appear during dry periods. Ooh, a 15-mile-an-hour turn. This one's going to be tight. And it's here we can see that the terrain really changes. We've got a lot more sagebrush and the mountain junipers, and we see mountains now. Allow 2 to 3 hours travel time from the highway to the main overlook there at Toroweap.
Turn left on County Road 115.
Next sign, it says Toroweap is straight ahead, 13 miles. Nampawap is 5 miles to the right, and so is Mount Trumbull. You have to go 7 miles that way to get there. There's a Barton Ranch 32 miles away, and we see this is a parking area, and there's going to be a storyboard, information board here at this point, at this juncture, and this is where some people park their car and maybe hop in with someone else. I'm not sure what they're doing, but we didn't see anyone in sight. We did take this opportunity to get out of the car and stretch our legs a bit. Primitive road. Caution. Use at your own risk. This surface is not regularly maintained. Now, about those flat tires. They claim that 25% of visitors experience one or more flat tires. Now that's that whole take 2 spares. We didn't use our spare. We were fortunate and we didn't see anybody else that needed them. You just have to pay attention, and even if you know what you're doing, a sharp rock might have just been kicked up by the previous traveler, and there goes the tire. Poof. Pop. You know the sound of a blowout, right? As we cross this cattle guard, the signs say, Highway License Plate Required. Day use area, open sunrise to 30 minutes after sunset. We're now entering Grand Canyon National Park. Tuweep area. I made it. Well, almost. I'm closer than ever before. Now the speed limit is 25 miles per hour, and it says caution. Rough road ahead. Somehow I think that's pretty funny. What do you mean rough road ahead? What have we been on since we pulled off the paved road? I see the ranger station. Oh, this is so amazing. Hang on, everyone. We are now entering Greater Tuweep Metropolitan area. 10 miles per hour. Oh, I can't believe it. We showed our park pass. The ranger waved us on. This is the gate that I presume that is closed right before sunset, or right after sunset, I should say. And it says this way. Yeah, the arrow points to the canyon rim.
And I'm steering. This guy's being nice. I can imagine him being.
Oh, yeah.
I could see Wonder Woman being back here and going, no, sorry.
And he did say that we would not have any troubles in our vehicle because he was watching us drive up and he saw that Steve knew what he was doing. That was encouraging. We're almost there, guys. I think it's like 3.5 miles to the parking lot, parking area, whatever you want to call it. The last 3 miles across the Slickrock are the roughest, as you'll see, requiring a high clearance vehicle. We even had to get out a couple of times. All right, this is a pretty important sign. High clearance vehicles only. Next, 2.7 miles to Overlook. Park other vehicles here. Well, I guess that if you don't want to take your truck or car or whatever on the Slickrock into this bad section, you can just park here and walk. 2.7 miles? That isn't that awful. I was actually prepared to do this if necessary. But you know what? This Tahoe is going to get us all the way to the canyon rim. This is definitely getting more rocky and difficult. We could see that there was a car approaching head-on towards us, and we stopped for a second to see what was happening. We realized that they were going to back up because they had an easier place to pull off to the side. And this is generally what you do when you're crossing another vehicle on roads like these.
They're going back.
Not both vehicles have a way to escape or so that both of you can pass. So sometimes one of you, well, all the time, one of you has to make the decision as to, well, I'm going to be the guy that scoots over because I've got a better spot. And so in this case, the guy pulled over for us and we continued on. And of course, you always want to wave and acknowledge them and let them know that you appreciate what they did. Stay on the road. Of course we're going to stay on the road. I'm getting more and more excited as I'm drawing closer and closer to Toroweap, to the canyon rim. Orange dirt has always been my favorite, and it's so much prettier right here, isn't it?
In 1/4 mile, arrive at Toroweap Road.
This kind of stuff I think we've done in Tennessee.
Technically, you could just park right there, probably.
He's thinking about the car like that.
Who knows what it is?
Hmm?
You might need to go way left.
Yeah, but it's not high clearance.
They just bought it.
Well, I don't break it in.
Really. Seemed like it was better.
Arriving at Toroweap Road.
Nice. Thanks for the tip.
We have finally reached our destination and we're parked and we're going to go out and see the best vertical drop view of the Grand Canyon. You're going to be looking down at this greenish, muddy-colored Colorado River with its classic rapids. But then we'll see Vulcan's Throne, the south side of the Grand Canyon. Yes, it's just like a stone's throw or maybe a baseball throw across the river. And if you have watched many of my other backroad or national park adventures, you know I'll be taking you right to the cliff's edge. Remember, stay behind me. As I take you to see these amazing views, remember, don't trip and pay attention. freewheeled around the Slickrock. Here's the official scoop on the established trails. The hiking routes in the Toroweap area require navigational abilities as they are sparsely marked with cairns. Cairns, whatever. If anybody really knows how to pronounce that, you can tell me in the comments. Self-rescue is the only dependable option available in the event of an injury or illness. Shade and water are scarce and heat exhaustion is common. All trails are closed to pets, bicycles, and vehicles. Now, there are 4 trails. The Tuweep Trail begins on the Tuweep Road, 5.3 miles south of the park boundary. Then there's the Saddle Horse Canyon Trail, and it is 1.6 miles round trip. It takes about an hour, and the trail starts just 0.3 of a mile south of the Tuweep campground. This easy walk requires some route finding and brings you to the rim of the Saddle Horse Canyon. The Vulcan's Throne route provides a challenging 1,000-foot ascent up the cinder-covered slopes of a volcanic cone, rewarding hikers with a dramatic view of the expansive esplanade and distant Shivwitz Plateau. This is a short hike. It's less than a mile, but it gains significant elevation. There's a register on the top. You know what? If we ever go out there again, I think we might try that one. If you've ever done it, or that is a goal of yours, let us know in the comments. Then there's the Esplanade Loop Trail. It starts at the Tuweep Campground Site number 10. And this is an easy walk of 2.9 miles, and it requires some navigational skill. When you go in May, you'll see these gorgeous cactus blooming. Can it get any pinker? I love pink. Do you? Our lunch was chicken salad for those of you who were wondering, and a Hawaiian sweet for dessert. Now let's head back to the ranger station to chat with the ranger. And as we ride, I want to tell you a few more things. The bulk of the Grand Canyon is on the Kaibab Plateau, but on this ride, we traverse the Kaibab Plateau. Now, you've heard me mention the word Toroweap and the word Tuweep. Let me do a little defining here of this. Toroweap is a Paiute term meaning dry or barren valley, and it refers to the many local features including the geologic formation and fault, the valley, and the overlook. Tuweep came into use to describe the local white settlement and later the park district. Tuweep in Paiute refers to the earth, but this place name may be derived from a longer Paiute word meaning long valley. We chatted with the ranger a little bit and found out that he lived out there most of the time and just drove in every once in a while to get groceries. And there was a lady there, and she had driven a car out there that she had no business driving that car out there. And I asked her why she did it. And she said, well, someone had told her that she could, and so she did, and she knows that she shouldn't. Pay attention, know what you should be doing, and know where you're going. She could have gotten hurt, and she could have torn that car up. You may have noticed signage saying a permit is required. There is no fee for the day use area, though. I do need to add that. But please be sure to secure whatever permits and reservations you need before making your voyage out there. This is a day use area, and unless you have obtained a backcountry permit or camping reservations, you have to leave. You have to leave 30 minutes after sunset. Well, it's time now to just head on back, and we have a long drive ahead of us. Remember, plan 3 hours plus driving time one way on these dirt roads. Have a map in your lap, as GPS can be unreliable on these types of back roads, where you will often pass webs of roads crisscrossing each other. Armchair travelers, I will make your ride back supersonic. A few other notables: do not get out and just go wandering around onto the tribal lands. This is considered trespassing, and tribal lands require special permits, as is the case when visiting Supai and traveling Diamond Creek Road. Since there are few, if any, year-round residents, assistance is not guaranteed on any of the routes. For these reasons, no one should attempt this trip without ample preparation and knowledge of the hazards associated with remote desert travel, and parts, tools, and knowledge to handle vehicle and tire repairs, including tire plugs and a portable air compressor. Because you know why? A tow cost ranges between $1,000 and $2,000. And that's even if you can communicate to get some help. We did pass a couple of cars, but it was only a couple of cars. And I feel fairly confident that when you go out there, you will pass at least one car. So there will be someone at some point going by, but we always have at least 4 or 5 granola bars stuck in our console just in case we get stuck somewhere. And we always take way too much water. You might want to just stick a gallon or 2 just in the back floorboard for, any kind of reason, even if your vehicle needs the water. Because this is supposed to be a terrific adventure, not a costly one. If you go prepared. Don't be sad that it's over. Be happy we did it. This is mile marker 1. Pavement ahead. I hope that all of you have enjoyed this unrestrained back road adventure to this secret place in the Grand Canyon. It's Toroweap, Tuweep, flip-flops, and ugly shoes on the ground, completing another bucket list place on this Unclassic road trip. Please leave me a comment and don't forget to like. And I want to encourage you to watch my National and State Parks playlist. There's so much there. And I want to thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't, please subscribe and tell a friend about my channel. Until next time.